Lower tantras, as I explained the other day. Lower and higher has nothing to do with the tantra or the deity itself. Lower and higher is in relation to the practitioner. The lower practitioner does the lower tantras because it's less extreme than the higher tantras. So if you're lower, you do lower tantra tara. If you're higher, you do higher tantra tara. Lower tantra tara is just green tara, the Atisha version. Higher tantra is Titamani tara. If you're a lower practitioner, you do lower tantra, Manjushri. If you're higher tantra, you do Yamatanga. So lower tantra doesn't refer to the deity or the path or the attainments. It refers to the level of the people practicing it. Why is it a lower tantra? Because the commitments are less, the practice is less, the meditation is less, and the discipline is much, much less. Lower tantras help you to focus on outer discipline. Higher tantra help you to focus on higher disciplines. The lower tantras focus on outer behavior. Let me explain in brief. I'm not going to go into detail today. The lower tantras focus on how we dress, how we speak, how we behave. Intoxicants, food. Food and intoxicants that poison our bodies. You see, not eating garlic and not eating onions and not smoking and drinking, it's not that if you smoke and drink and eat garlic and onions, it's bad karma per se. Those are some of the foods that, according to Ayurvedic medicine, blocks the channels during meditation. So garlic and onions are one of the foods that is very strong in smell and strong in glutens. It has medical benefits also. You know, a lot of medicines, you do this way, it can be harmful. Do this way, it can be beneficial. A lot of medicines are like that. So garlic, for earlier meditations, is quite harmful to the body. In a higher meditation, such as Yamataka, there's no restriction of garlic and onion. There is none. But in the lower tantra, where Yamataka is Manjushri, there is. Because when you're starting new in practice, everything and anything can disturb your mind. Everything and anything can obstruct you. Everything and anything can derail you. Anything and everything can throw you off. So you want to have everything and anything that can derail you, not derail you. So in the higher tantras, you can have bubbly. In the lower tantras, you don't, especially during retreat. So if you're in a retreat for a month, you don't have bubbly for a month. You don't release anything for a month. In the higher tantras, I mean, you don't just go, no, I'm in higher tantra, I can release every day. You don't go and do that. But if you do, it's permissible because it's not so much focused on the body anymore. Because by the time you reach the higher tantras, it's alleged you're not so attached to bubbly and all that anymore. So there's not a restriction when you're not attached. So the higher tantras, lighter way of practicing is not so much that it's lighter. It's because you've already traversed those difficulties and attachments. So by the time you reach the higher tantras, you're not attached to smoking. You're not attached to food. You're not attached to drinking. You're not forgetful. You're not attached to clothes and jewelry anymore. You know why? Because when you've entered the higher tantras, you've already mastered the 3 principal paths. The 8 worldly dharmas have been expelled. The 4 noble truths are very firm. So the 4 noble truths, suffering, the cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, and all that, is firm in your mind. The 3 principal paths are already firm, according to Geshe-la, Geshe-Tsuning Gyaltsen. So when you're in the higher tantras, you're not attached to clothes, food, bubbly, people, relationships, money. You're not attached anymore. So the rules are not so heavy because you don't really need the rules. It's like telling a 150-year-old grandma, oh, don't swim in the middle of the lake or you can drown. Only swim with this lifeguard. I doubt she's going to go swimming at all. You know, during a thunderstorm, don't go swimming in the middle of the lake, Grandma. You know, if I see Beatrix, I'll say to her, hey, no swimming during thunderstorms. It's dangerous. You can get electrocuted. You know, I'll put the sign up very strongly. So she's lower tantra, just beginning. So if your grandmother's out there in a wheelchair, you know, on oxygen tank, hey, no swimming, no swimming during electrical storm. She's like, what? She can barely move. So, like, that's a rough example. In the higher tantras, it is alleged you've already controlled your attachments to your body, speech, and mind. Food is not an issue anymore. Relationships, bully is not an issue anymore. Money and attachments, intoxicants, place of stay, appearance. You're not attached to people. When you're not attached, you're very free to do the higher tantras and the internal meditations that gain actual attainments. When your attachments are very strong, you can do Yamataka. You can do Vajrayana. Not much result. You can even give up after 10, 15, 20, 30 years. You can. You know why? Because it was just a ritual to you. You never control the inside. So I asked yesterday before, then why did the Lamas give initiation? He says, because people's lifespan is not very long. The distractions are very innumerable. So today, they try to have people practice simultaneously. Sutra and Tantra simultaneously. What's Sutra? Controlling of the body, speech, and mind. What's Tantra? Internal transformation. So last time I asked Geshe Gyaltsen, I'm not ready for Yamataka and all that stuff. Why do I get all that? He says because A, you won't have the chance to get from such a master like Saranji again. But the lineage is pure. B, you don't know how long you're going to live. C, the addictions all of us have, I have, and the attachment we have are very strong. So he says it's better to do a little Yamataka every day, broken, and not fully ready, than to never do it. He told me that last time. For me. So it tells you my state of mind. So for me, it's better to do a little bit of every day, better than none. But officially, by the time you reach Yamataka stage, because you're not attached to food, appearance, relationship, people, bubali, you're not attached to money, jewelry, name, the 8 worldly dharmas, because you're not attached. You're very free. You're very light. You're very, very mobile. And your mind is very clear. So when you go, so the lower tantras, such as Sing No Ma, no garlic, no onions, no meats, no, especially chicken, pig, and what's the other one? Fish, correct. No eggs. Those are things I don't eat every day anyways. So if the lower tantras and Buddha Shakyamuni taught you not to eat these 5 poisonous foods, and you're still eating it, why are you eating it? Because you're attached. There's so many other things to eat. You're not in 16th century Tibet, there's only Tsamba. There's so many other things to eat. So if you're still eating eggs, chicken, pork, fish, garlic, onions, if you're still eating that, and you find it so difficult not to eat that, and you find it so difficult to avoid that, it's not because it's difficult, it's because you're attached. Then you check, then you lie too. Then you don't do your work also. Then you have to be reminded. Then you have to have an attachment. You also still smoke. You still drink. You see, it's all related. Because when you let one slip, it affects all the others. Because it's not the object, it's the mind. And pretty much you see yourself say, never mind, I will do this 4, but I won't do this. No. If you think you're supposed to do 5 things, and you do 4 and you don't do 1, you'll be alright. The 1 will take over the 4, and all 5 you won't do eventually. Check your history. Check your history. If you're a big CEO and you have 20 meetings a week and you have to meet 30 people and you have big companies and billions of dollars to worry about and you have a secretary and an assistant to remind you of things, that reminder is because you're overwhelmed for one person. But if you yourself in this room need to be reminded, it's not because you're a big CEO and you're doing so much. It's because you have the habit of, it's not convenient, I just don't do it. So reminders, for a lot of us in this room, think this carefully, all right? Really try not to sleep. For many of us in this room, having to be reminded is a meter stick of how much we have not progressed. Having to be reminded is a meter stick of how much we have not progressed and how much we're still the same as when we entered Dharma. What's the difference? We just know more. Having to be reminded. So people say, please don't be greedy, please share. You already know that. You haven't achieved that yet. Please do your sadhana, please do your sadhana, please do your sadhana. You know already, you're not committed. You'll never give Vajragini. Because you don't create the karma for it. Even you give Vajragini to those people, the karma is so strong they run. They'll run away. They cannot get it. I have arranged Vajragini, full initiation, and teachings and commentary for some of Kacharyan students from Khensa Rinpoche, Khensa Jampa Yishi. I translated. Every single person who received Vajragini ran away. They don't do their practice now. Oh yes, there are Kacharyans now that I have arranged Vajragini from my guru, not from me because I'm a clown. They have all run away because they refuse to do the lower practices. Some of them, in between initiation, I saw with my own eyes. I didn't say anything because there was a group of them. It's way before your time. We're smoking behind Khensa just thrown outside. All the monks saw. They were laughing there. They didn't see anything bad in it because the monks are quite cute. They were laughing and laughing, saying, wow, your guru's in there, the initiation, they're separate by one wall, you can just smoke like that. Oh, very rude. And they were laughing because they see these foreigners. And the monks say, look, they're smoking right next to it. Yeah, in between initiation breaks, they ran outside and smoked. Khensa Rinpoche is right there. That's attachment. They're not bad. That's attachment. But every single Kacharyan that I took to Gandhin before the ban, that received Vajragini and Yamataka from Khensa Rinpoche, who's passed away now. Imagine you receive from Khensa Rinpoche like receiving Vajragini herself. Have all run away. One ran away because she fell in love with a boy. And I talked to her, don't. And guess what happened? She ran away. After 2 weeks, she broke up from the boy. She had no face to come back. That's one. Then she met another boy, got pregnant, and the pregnancy had huge complications, and she had to have her whole womb removed during the giving birth, and she almost died because she lost a tremendous blood because she wanted a boyfriend. And after she had the baby, the boy never talked to her again. She's alone now. She doesn't do a Vajragini either. She just takes care of her boy. Oh, there are a few stories like that's why I don't give Vajragini to people easily, or Yamataka. If you do it without my permission, you run to other lamas, you won't have any attainments. That's why I don't give it, because I've experienced this with people here before already. That's why when I look at people who have to be reminded of things, I say to myself, I don't give them Vajragini. When I see people whose attachments become more, not less, I don't give them Vajragini. So you can pray and wish and hope. You can enter Tantra practice as much as you want. You can pray, hope, and wish. But if I don't see you doing your commitments, doing your practice, doing your duties, you can't even stay away doing a Dharma talk, you will never get Vajragini. Why? It's not punishment. It's because the karmic repercussions are very heavy. You won't last. It's a very powerful practice. With Vajragini's practice, you will enter Kachara paradise. That is the saying in Tibet. Oh, Kachara paradise. If you tell people, oh, Nyajima Wang Shuainis, I'm getting Vajragini's initiation, immediately they'll tell you, oh, you want to go to Kachara paradise? Because her vehicle is known for that power. It's like say, oh, I'm going to go see Martin. Oh, good, he can explain things really well. You see, there's that reputation. Oh, I'm going to go see Wami. Oh, he's very patient. He'll tell you everything. He explained very nice. He's very patient. He has that reputation. So you say, oh, you're going to get Vajragini. They say, oh, you want to go to Kachara paradise. Oh, wow. You tell people, oh, I'm going to go for Yamataka. Wow. Wow. You know what? Your negative karma is going to purify in leaps and bounds. You're going to gain great wisdom immediately and say no. Oh, I'm going to go get Guya Samaja. Wow. Wow, your winds are gathering. What does it mean? You have control of your rebirth. Very fast. People say that immediately too. Because each practice has a specialty. So on the lower Tantra, why are you more obsessed or focused on getting rid of outer attachments? Excuse me. Why? Because once you get rid of the outer attachments, that actually is like the lobster dangling in front of you. Once you get rid of the outer attachments, you know what happens? Is you gain control. And once you get rid of the outer attachments, they don't become a stumbling block anymore. And you don't have to have this food, have to have this relationship. You don't have to have this money, this reputation. And then you do the higher practices, you will be more successful. Does that mean I cannot have a relationship? It doesn't mean that. It means you don't have to have it, and your life is revolved around it. I ask you clearly, and you think yourself without fidgeting. How much time does your relationship take? And where could that time have gone to instead? You ask yourself, where could that have gone to instead? So everything you admire in your Lama that he can do that you cannot do, you should admire in yourself that you can do too. Because that's your goal. So all the times you've had meetings to justify your point of view for a relationship, for an attachment, for an anger, for a mistake, for a blowout, for a BS, how much time did you waste? Just justifying over and over. And you're still where you are. So you're still as sensitive as possible. That's what we have to see and think. So what's important on the lower tantras? Besides sitting up there doing mantras, what you do before the sessions, in between and after is even more important. Keep your promises. Do not neglect any of the duties you've been giving or any assignments you've been giving. Don't be reminded. Lessen your intoxicants. Lessen your gulpi. Lessen your attachment to it. Lessen your attachment to family. Lessen your attachment to geography and place. Lessen all of it. Develop equanimity. And then when you get Vajrayogini, instead of going down and running away, you'll excel. When you do Vajrayogini's practice, let me tell you something. The omens and signs are very, very sensitive. They show very quickly. She's one of the deities that appear in visions to people more than many other deities. Tsongkhapa, Tara, Rinpoche, Vajrayogini, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, these five are the ones I hear consistently. They appear to people much faster and quicker. I don't know why. Some karmic connection that they made before they became enlightened to us. Go very quick. And the signs are very quick. Don't be stuck at just a statue in a Tantra and they make offerings and prostrations to recite our mantra. That's good, but go deeper in your practice. Let go of your attachments. Let go. Let go of all the attachments that you have day by day, as Lord Shukin told us recently. Day by day, let go. Very, very important. So, in the lower tantras, you don't do all these small things, smoking, drinking, and all that stuff while you're doing retreat. If you can. If you do it, you can still do the retreat. The reason is to train your mind to let go of the lower attachments. The base attachments. I'll say base attachments. Okay, the base attachments, lower attachments, helps you to let go. So that the higher attachments are much easier. See, if you have a rose bush, you want to remove it. Remove the thorns first and then you can pull it out. Then the roots will be easier. If you go directly, you hurt your hand. So remove the base attachments first. Lesson. As I said, if I said anything that applies to you, it's not intended for you. It's intended as a Dharma talk for you to realize what's going on. Now, when you're doing the lower tantras, Manjushri, Tsongkhapa, Tara, white Tara, green Tara, red Tara, 21 Taras, Purukule, any form of Manjushri, we call it the lower tantras. Why? Ready? Loud and clear. Everybody who talks loud and clear.
I call the lower tantra because when we do it, we are one. We control.
Take your time, think and answer. Take your time. And don't try to be right, don't try to look good. Just answer. Why is it called a lower tantra? You started talking, why'd you stop?
It's easier for us to break free from the attachment to the...
Why are you looking at that? Don't look for approvals. You have a huge, I need approval look all the time. Stop looking for approvals. You're not going to get it. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
It is to The lower tantra is to help us cut.
Why do we call it a lower tantra? You changed the question already. Why me? It's not a trick question. I explained extensively.
Because it requires less discipline.
Very good. And one more thing you didn't cover. Can you remember, or ask someone else? It's okay also. Why do we call it a lower tantra? So Singdongma is lower than Vajrayana. So why do we call it a lower tantra? Sweet Count, can you tell me?
It's the level of the practitioner.
Very good. Oh my God. What does that mean? Explain more. You're bowing at me. You're like a major D. He's cute.
The practitioner is not ready. Is cope with the commitment of the higher tantra. So
very good. Excellent. You listened. Teaching you Dharma is not a waste of time. Because the side of the practitioner is lower. Lower, not the person is lower. Their ability to do more is not there yet. Lower doesn't mean you're lower or you're bad. No. It means your ability to do more is less. Example, a 6-year-old child compared to a 30-year-old adult. Who is lower? Of course, the child. Their ability I'm talking about. Excellent. From the side of the practitioner, their capability is lower. They've arrested or stopped less of their attachments. Because of that, it becomes a lower tantra. So Manjushri in higher tantra has more practices, more meditations, more commitments, more vows to propel you to reach higher levels quicker. If you're going to train for the Olympics, or the World Olympics, or you're going to train for your high school competition, what do you think will require more training? More discipline, more work, more time. You have to give up girlfriend, you have to give up boyfriend, you have to give up a lot of free time and entertainment. Why? Because you have to do more training, isn't it? But do you have to give up more if you train for high school or for Olympics? So for high school sports competition, it's lower training, lower competition. Because the result is lower. You just get in the local newspapers. If you win Olympics, the whole world. So Tara and Tsongkhapa and Manjushri are not lower. Their tantras are designed for you as preliminary practice. Does everybody understand that? So why do we call the lower tantras Kriya, Charya, Yoga? There are 4 tantras, Kriya, Charya, Yoga, and Maha Anuttara. So the lower tantras, Kriya, Yoga, Charya. Why do we call them lower tantras? Why is Singdongma a lower tantra? Really? I can't hear you.
Because of the practitioner's mind.
I don't understand. One statement doesn't hit it.
It's because of the practitioner's mind that doesn't allow us to understand, so that is considered as the lower tantra because it helps us to control the basic attachment before we are able to do the higher.
A little bit, but not there. 80% wrong. We did it twice now. You have to listen. I'm going to do it one more time. Listen, and I'm going to pick on you again. 3 times explain already enough, you know. Why do we call it a lower tantra? Why do we call it a lower tantra? Abby, please.
Because it requires a lesser discipline.
Very good. From whose side? Singdongma or your side? Very good. So it requires lower
Discipline.
correct.
And another is because.
Very good. So it's lower, not is Singdongma lower?
No.
Are you lower? No. Your capabilities are not very high yet. Your capabilities are lower, not you. Okay? Very good. Then, what's the other one? Relax, think carefully, it's related. I'll give you a break, you got 1 out of 2. Sarah?
It is the preliminary practice before.
You can say that. It's like a preparatory practice. You can say that. To get you ready to think higher. If you can do the lower tantras well, the higher tantras come easier. If you do the higher tantras well, your mind will transform and leaves in balance. So right now you're saying, but Rinpoche, we don't have Singdoma initiation. We cannot see things through Singdoma perspective. We cannot visualize ourselves as Singdoma. Correct. But you see. You can recite her mantra, make prayers to her, make offerings to her. You can do everything to her that you can as an initiate, except visualize yourself as her. But you can still change your perspective. What? As a Lamrim practitioner. So you may not be a Singdoma, but you're a Lamrim monk. What's a Lamrim monk? To see everything through the perspective of Lamrim. But you can still do everything else. Why do I not give you initiation? Why?
Because we are not ready.
That's very simple. Specifically?
We don't have the commitment.
We don't? Very good.
We didn't execute the quality that we will commit our time.
No, you put yourself down. Not that exactly. Li Kang, near it. Now listen carefully.
It's actually more to protect us because they are
Very good. To protect you from what?
from breaking the vows
Commitment.
which have.
So I don't give you the vows. Very good. It's related. You understand? I don't give you the vows so you don't break it, but you can do everything else around it. So if you're supposed to do 10 for Singdoma or lower tantras to gain attainments, you're doing 8. Why are you doing 8? Because I've seen many people run. So I want to protect you. What about these people who run around getting initiations? That's their karma. I don't do that. I don't come from that school of thought. Saranchi and Khensurchi and all these lamas never showed me that example of just get initiation, not do the practice, and throw commitment to the wind. Ever. Khensurchi taught 6 to 8 hours a day. Kepje Lakrimchi taught 5 to 6 hours a day. Kepje Lakrimchi, Kepje Khensurchi, my gurus, my teachers, they kept their promises. They did 6 to 7 hours of meditation per day. I saw with my own eyes. Khensu Lakrimchi wrote books. He administered to the monastery. He taught classes, 5 to 6 classes per day. Each class is about 45 minutes. On top of that, he did 5 to 6 hours of meditation. Same with my group. I saw this with my own eyes because I traveled with them. I served them. I had the honor to serve them. They're so busy, yet they make time for their commitments. So I come from the school where if we're giving a practice of a deity, we do the sadhana, we do the retreat, we do the practice, we hold our vows, we keep our commitments. We don't throw any of that to the wind. That's how I was taught from my teachers. That's why I'm very strict with my students. I don't simply give you initiation. I can give you anything you want and mold your mind this way, but I'd rather mold you in a very strict, Ilukpa traditional way. What is that? I train you up till you're ready. I don't give it to you when you're not. I don't give it to you. Okay, this may sound a little egotistical, and I'm not trying to be. I don't give it to you because I care. That is why. So you don't create excess negative karma. But out of 10 things, I create in such a way you can do 8. Show me you can do 10. Show me immediately. Attachments, integrity, promises, laziness, not being bored with honorable way. That's how you show me. Whatever assignment you've been given, small or big, you judge it as small or big. But then you demean your lama because your lama gives you small things that don't matter, is it? Your lama's not a Buddha. So if your lama gives you small things that don't matter, then your lama has a small mind. You judge your own lama. So whatever assignments your lama is giving you, you check how many have you forgotten, didn't do, or just pretend you don't know anymore. You think yourself. So show me you can do 10. What's the benefit of doing 10? The benefit of doing 10 is 10 out of 10. The attainments are faster and quicker. Even being around the Lama for 1-2 days, how much knowledge do you get? Being around your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your parents, how much knowledge do you get? Nothing.